What is your a good starter question then? What is your favourite burger, and from where? Peaks.
Wow, they put me right on the spot there.
Aye. Uh-huh.
My favourite burger.
Yeah.
The Baconator from Wendy's.
Right. Dunny.
I just like usually salmon and sweet potato
What's your favourite meal? Burgers, chips, salmon and sweet potato.
I actually think it'd either be A&W, which is
A&W.
just Canadian. I don't think they or do they have them?
No.
No, just Canadian.
What does the A&W stand for?
I don't even know. It's bad, but they have a good. The tea and burger there is really good.
And your favourite burger, Martin?
I'm with Peaks on this one. Wendy's Baconator.
Wendy's Baconator. I don't think I've ever had a Wendy's Baconator.
You're missing out.
Yeah, really good.
I'm going to struggle.
That'd be-
Like Five Guys is probably the
Five Guys
best
good
I'm going
burger.
to
Like
go.
Five Guys is decent, but
Cali
take
makes
it
a
a
good
loan
Five
to
Guys.
pay for it though.
I think Wendy's topped it.
So, guys, back to day one when I was at the Hydro. Everyone's heard this story before, but this is the first time the three of us have actually been together to chat about it. So, it's April, May time.
From May time, yeah, I think so.
Playoff weekend.
Yeah, end of April then, possibly.
Did it not start? I think it started. The initial
It was
contact
after
would
playoff
be
weekend.
playoff week. Was it not? I think it was play. No, I think it was the number swapped hands probably around playoff weekend, where I got Peaks' number. Then it would maybe be that next week, that midweek after.
Yeah, it was a Tuesday you phoned me because you been to the Elite League playoff weekend
I was there
with
with
us. Aye, I know that, but had we had that weekend?
No, it was after that.
So it was after that, yeah.
Yeah. By
The
text.
weekend I forced you to come on that
Did,
one
yeah,
because
it's
you
true,
were you'd retired from playing
I know.
apparently, and and didn't want to go to that playoff weekend. But I was like, if you want a job in hockey, you're going to have to network. So come to
a good
come
job
to
you
the playoff
forced me then,
weekend.
isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
No,
And then I was at the Hydro. Some heavy mate. I can't even remember the name of the gig. It was like, it wasn't Metallica, but it was something Alter Bridge or something like some mad heavy metal. And he's texted me, "Can I speak to you?" I was like,
No, I was telling you not to pick up.
I
'cause
know
you told
you
me
were,
you're at the
but I
Hydro, and I
said-
said, it's fine, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Aye, but you know me now, don't you?
Yeah.
Tomorrow is a day that never comes. I want to know now. Like yesterday, talk to me now. So I was like, no, I'm not waiting any longer. What is it you're after? And then you phoned and said Martin Grubb wanted a word. I was like, aye, all right, okay.
Big mistake. Yeah.
Big mistake. So that was a Tuesday, and then I think I phoned you on the Wednesday
Wednesday afternoon.
afternoon, probably.
Lunchtime.
I was at home, I think. And I phoned you. And I already knew a Martin Grubb member. I was like, you don't have to be an estate agent as well, do you? Because there's a Martin Grubb estate.
I can picture it.
There's a Martin Grubb estate agency guy.
Life in that, That's
You're
your
like, no, not me. I was like, all right, okay, so you're a different Martin Grubb then.
I was, yes.
And then
Went straight into talking about the Vamps.
That's
It wasn't
right.
even about anything to do with what we needed to.
cheesy pop is the way you should start every conversation, really.
Well, I think that probably that's what opened the door, right? Your girls.
But Callie in particular was like obsessed with Brad for the
And I had Laurie at that stage. She was obsessed.
Callie's still obsessed with him, to be fair.
She's probably moved a wee bit. Harry Styles, Niall Horan, but yes, cheesy teen pop
Yeah.
to
To a hockey team.
a meeting, to a 15-minute meeting,
Aye.
which was probably 3 hours at least. To a meeting the next week to a round table discussion.
Sitting in the middle of the ice,
Middle of the
an
ice,
end of-
nice, eh?
an end of season chat. So it was. I mean, it's funny to think back now. It happened so quickly. Like Craig and I had met for lunch and coffee at Grand Central, remember?
Yep.
And at the time, obviously, the clan thing had fallen through. Just, I think, and there was options, shall we say, kicking about or ideas flying about for Phil and I at the time, latterly for David to join. And I'd said to Craig, whatever I do, I want you to come and be part of it, whatever that may be. But we didn't expect this to be
Yeah,
it, you know.
I guess from my side of things was the same. It was right. I stood in the actually stood after winning in Coventry. We stood in the box with Steve Nell and John Neville. I think I'd probably drunk several beers in a very short space of time, and
But you don't drink, Martin.
no, special occasions. But that was a special occasion. So then I'm sure I stood there saying I'll meet you in this final next year, which never really worked out. But my bravado was, I'm going to need to actually figure out a way to get to this next level. And then obviously I think at the playoff weekend I was speaking to Keno back and forward. I think he was like, if you need me, I can get Peaks's number. He's here, I know he's here, and you should do this. And I was like, yeah, the next thing we know, say it's number to number to call to, then all of a sudden it's what?
Weeks.
Meetings after that, because then Katie got involved where you and I had to go in that league meeting,
That's right.
jump through hoops to make
Hoops of fire.
to make this happen, and then before you know it, we're having to try and in a very short space of time put a roster
Put a
together.
team together, And then first time you met Martin properly was when we came down to do some filming where we actually are, remember? In your suit. That's before the secret was out that you were going to be playing that season.
It's the worst kept secret.
I thought I did a good job. I had a good poker face. Oh no, he's not playing. He's definitely not playing. We did some filming that day, and that was, I think that set the tone of where we were going to go. Everything was going to be high energy, high impact, social media takeover, all that kind of stuff, you know. And then
And we raised the bar.
obviously we raised the bar, raised the John Dunn bar. That was I suppose from our perspective, me, David and Phil, it was, we knew of John for the clan. And Guildford, of course, but we don't talk about them. I suppose initially we didn't think it would happen because John was kind of not sure what he was going to do that season. You and John obviously were good pals from that season, and you were convinced that if he spoke to us and he bought into our vision, that he would be up for it. So
Well, originally I wasn't convinced, but then you came up with the other idea of a dual
role, the
which I
transitional
thought-
role,
which I figured would obviously appeal to him a bit more, and apparently it did because he's sitting right next to you. So.
It worked.
It worked. It did. It did. You don't want to talk about the chat though, do you? Me and you. And how we got there.
No, I mean it was a whirlwind, like you say. Obviously, I had spoke to Peaks about it, little bits here and there. He was obviously super excited about his GM position, something that he had been looking forward to, and just the direction that the club was headed in. And at first, to be honest, I didn't really think much of it. He had asked about it kind of in a joking way, if anything. My heart was still very much set on, trying to push for another year in the Elite League. I think it was well documented. The season that we had that year with the clan was very It was an interesting one, and so it was a lot of uncertainty about me going back there. Like I said, I still felt like I wanted to play. I wanted to play competitively. I had a lot of gas left in the tank, and I guess when it came to that dual role, something in a management style position, I think most hockey players that have had longer-ish careers, it's difficult to leave the game cold turkey. So when that option presented itself, I had a good chat with my wife about it, and had a very good chat with you.
Yes.
Into the
early
early hours of the morning.
What time was it till?
It was after 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, I had a lot of questions. It's a big decision to make, so I wanted to make sure.
I've never heard it was that late before.
Gets later every time they tell the story.
But the interesting thing was, I was going through to Edinburgh with my Morven, my wife, and the girls to a charity awards dinner, which I didn't win, but hey ho. So you phoned through, and I instinctively just answered and started talking to you, but forgetting that Morven and the girls were in the car as well. And the girls are like, "That's John Dunbar. That's John Dunbar. He's talking to. That's John." And of course, we then continued the conversation through, and I went to the awards ceremony. Went back to the hotel room. Everyone else went to sleep, and then you and I sat up on the phone rather. Until 2 in the morning.
That's exactly how it happened. I remember. I think Roxy was
just
away.
make a decision, will you?
Yeah, I know. Now that I've learned your personality, it's
Yeah.
like now. So and Craig, to be fair, Craig did gave me a fair forewarning. He said, John's not gonna. It's not gonna take a week to make a decision. It was gonna be like,
I gave you the
take a
week.
night.
Take an hour.
Yeah, take an hour.
It's the same day we went for a pint in the
Yeah,
afternoon. To
yeah,
talk
we
about
did.
it.
That's how it all started. Like that, it happened in a matter of like 48 hours, basically. But it felt like a week because there's just so many decisions in my head, and it also, I think Roxy was away, my wife was away, so I was on the phone with her talking about it, and she had met you guys before, and she was like, I think it just makes too much sense, and and here we are, the round table. Last time I think it was a boat was sitting in here,
That's right, yeah.
So it's a little bit more comfortable now, just the table. But
It's cold though.
It's chilly. It's
Cold. I don't know how you guys.
a lot
play on
warmer
this.
when you're out sweating and got all the equipment on.
I'm quite toasty in my little
Good jacket. This,
Yeah.
So that was that. We then had the makings of the new guys joining your existing team.
Mm-hmm.
The roster got put together quite quickly. Really, I mean, we had 2 weeks to put the team together, or rather, you guys had 2 weeks to put the team together.
I guess the serious side was maybe 2 to 3 weeks, and Craig and I were, well, obviously he had a busy summer in terms of getting married himself, and he had another wedding in Greece. That
Yeah,
one
I
that
went
was
to
booked
Greece,
ahead, and
Yeah.
so between that we were kind of planning when we could speak and when we could watch video, and we would get agents between us sending us players galore, and of course we always said we had the same philosophy right from the beginning, as we all did, that it had to be the right person first and foremost. And I think like we joked kind of off the recording earlier that we probably spoke to each other more than either of our wives at that stage. Because
And I'll vouch for that.
probably still do at times, but yeah, and I think between us we watched hours of video, trying to get the right two guys in, because obviously by this stage we knew we had John on board, and that was obviously the coaching point of view for me when I know Craig had said that I'm going for a pint that day, to it happening was a no-brainer for me.
I think I remember phoning you because
Yeah,
we did all that without really talking to you.
I knew we had been texting again back and forward, and I knew they were going for a beer, and then I think really quickly, like you say, it was like, how do you feel about John Dunbar? And it's like, yeah, like of course, it's a no-brainer for me.
You were as cool as a cucumber. I was like, so if I can get John Dunbar, what do you think? You were like, yeah.
Yeah, like,
I was like,
I think like,
I'll
let's
take it. Yeah. Just
Yeah, I
leftovers.
suppose.
100%. Like, let's be honest, if anybody, and not just because he's sitting here, but if anybody in the league, any coach in the league gets that call, they're like they're lying if they say that they would have said no. So that was a really easy one for me.
he fitted into that.
He's an all right
good guy. He's
guy,
okay.
yeah.
He's all right. He's got a bit of work to do, but he's all right.
Yeah.
He's
Some
decent.
issues there, but
No, but yeah, like he's, especially when it's difficult, where John and Craig will tell you more than anybody, coming for that elite league, professional hockey, training every day pretty much, and being on the ice every day, coming to this level, there is an element of, do they fit in? Do they fit in? Does our guys, existing guys, as you said, John, do they fit in moving up the way? And I think the group, for one, that we put together in that short space of time was good.
Yeah.
Then we ended up with the video calls, and then calls with Nolan initially.
Yeah.
We touched base with Nolan. I still laugh with Nolan that I saw them I had been to Windsor where they were at school, but I realised when I come off the call it was before he was even born. It was 30 years ago. And I was like, yeah, I've been to Windsor. Like, do you remember this? And probably none of the infrastructure was even there. But he humoured us, and that then led to Olivier coming on the scene. And I think we both were really impressed with I always remember his video,
Yeah.
where most
Yeah,
guys
he's
send
really
their
good.
highlights, and it's just the best bits. But he broke the game down, and when you seen him, we've obviously worked with him, seen him all year. When you see the way he is, that makes perfect sense. It's very methodical, and just how it was set up was you're not just looking at a guy that will send you, I've scored X amount of goals, and that's all you see. So we liked that. We spoke to them, and then we had to be loyal. I think it was the right thing to do. We had to be loyal to that existing group that had just won that Grand Slam and been with me for so long. And without being rude to them, there was also probably limited options because we were putting a team together within a few weeks. We picked up a couple of guys along the way. Obviously, we brought a few guys into town that were, if you want to call them out of towners, but we Yeah, we spent a few hours trying to put that together.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on the phone. I remember like just being married and then barely seeing or speaking to my wife, and just me and Martin being on the phone for hours. But like I said, we watched so much video on like players, and there's hundreds and hundreds of players, but then it was always Martin's philosophy. Like, it was about the people, and I think those Zoom calls that we had were like Nolan and Olivier, and after the Zoom calls, as soon as we would hang up with the players, me and Martin were straight back on the phone within 10 seconds, ringing to talk about it and how it went. And you could just get a feel of those two guys when we spent that time with them on the Zoom calls, and we knew they were good people. So the hockey was obviously going to follow, and I'm sure all the fans and the boys in the room were, agree with us when we say I think we brought two great people in, and obviously John is the other import. We couldn't have done any better really with recruitment in that sense.
I think even the numbers, time on ice, as you say, more importantly the people's side proves that. Again, not taking anything away for our British recruitment, but our import recruitment for me was spot on.
And it has to be when you only have three, right? That's what you want to get right.
And as a first-year team, there's a bit of pressure. Obviously, yourself and Phil and David had come in, and we all had the same philosophy there as well. Make a big bang straight away, like social media, and everything that the club stood for. We were winning serial winners before, and so you've got to get that right.
Aye.
And
you know what I'm going to say here now. Would you like to tell me how we went from that to 7 game losing, or 6 or 7 game losing streak?
Listen, John, it was all the players. It was nothing to do with the coach. No, I think like we kind of touched on there. I think, and we've said this on kind of numerous podcasts. The league is. I'm not saying it's better than I expected, because I knew it was a good league. But I think the step up for a team that had maybe 1 or 2 players max that had really played any games in it was a massive adjustment. The guys coming down the way, it was a totally different game. It's like the Elite League is so more structured. You have to be in the right spot at the right time. It's kind of a game of chess a lot of the time. The NHL North for us, and again, without sounding disrespectful to anybody, most nights we could start at -5, -6 goals and win. So we could make mistakes and we could win. And from the first night, you realise that if you make one mistake, it could be game over. And, I think Is
that why you gave a lot of teams a 4-goal head start in this league then? Because
we tried.
We'll come back.
We did a couple of times.
We actually did, to be fair.
I remember the ones there.
Even those early games, though, those 6 games, we didn't get blown out by anybody. It was a lot of 2-goal games and things like that. So,
I mean, we opened the season, Telford here.
Yeah.
It's a 1-goal game.
Team.
Yeah.
1-goal game, we pulled the goalie. It actually says it all, especially against Telford, because 2 shot blocks, and the shot block ended up in the net.
Yeah.
That's
That's right.
To make it a 2-goal game, and I think that kind of set up how we fared against Telford as a bogey team.
It's true.
But I think
Did we not end up in? Was it not 9 or maybe 10 games? 1 goal in it.
we actually were
Maybe
in
more.
12.
Yeah.
12. I mean, think about how.
Yeah.
Even if half of them
Yeah.
had gone to overtime.
It's a cruel sport.
100%. I think that's the thing, right? You look at that and you go, the shoulda, woulda, coulda scenario.
Yeah.
Right? 6 points, for example, even 6 losing points in overtime, you make the playoffs.
You made the playoffs, yeah.
But, and it was early in the year, I had a really good conversation with Slava Kulikov, who's the head coach in Peterborough. And as Slav said to me, as a first-year team, early in your season, because I think we'd maybe been in 4 or 5 in a row, is that if you don't get in the games, you don't know how to play them. You don't learn how to win them. You don't learn how to handle these games. Like, we finished our season the year before in a playoff semi-final. We won 11-1. To then go to a run of 1-goal games in a much more competitive and higher quality league. It was always going to take time. I think I would never change it, but I think the razzmatazz, if you want to call it, coming in. And you know what?
You're looking at me for
the showbiz style. The one thing I would say, do you know what? And again, might be controversial this, but I think personally that us coming into this league raised the standard. Social media, player signings from the beginning of this season right across the league. Because everybody else looked and thought, who are these upstarts coming in here? and every other team then started to do more, and I think it raises the John Dunbar. It raises the credibility of the league as well, because then people go, I would think even elite league fans start looking at, well, like the National League's getting a bit more professional, it's getting a bit more serious.
Some more press.
There is still some standards that I would like to see raised in this league. But, some teams, I guess,
We'll get to that, no doubt.
are different than others, the way the rinks work. But really, to answer the question on that first 6 games, I think it was tough for everybody. But,
Yeah, for sure.
But on a positive side, we could have folded.
Oh, aye.
And we could have went on I spoke to the boys a lot at that stage and about the Glasgow situation and, going on whatever, 18, 19, 20 game skid. And it's tough. Like, that is tough for any player, any coach. You take it away from the rink and it gets into your work and home life. And we could have been in a really bad spot.
Yeah.
But from ownership right the way down, we stuck together and we found a way and we got our... and ironically, we never just got a 1-game weekend win when we found our first win. It was straight into a 4-point weekend. And then we started to become a lot more competitive and find some wins rather than being in these 1 and 2 goal games that we're losing. We started to find some points.
You could see it was always there. It was just a moment of time when it clicked. And obviously, a 6-game losing streak, it feels like it's the longest time in the world. But we were never out of it. But then you talk about teams looking at us and what we're doing. Nobody wanted to lose to us. The new team coming in at the start of the league. So everybody was on their game at the start. And we're still learning. We had guys from, like Martin said, coming down, coming up, new imports to the league. Everyone had to adjust. But we found, like you said, 4-point weekend. That was pretty happy. And then I think we ran into Milton Keynes and Leeds, I think, the next weekend. And then we went on a bit of an up and down roller coaster for a while. But you could see that the team was there. And I mean, apart from at the end of the year, I don't ever remember us getting blown out in any game.
No, I don't think so. I think there was a couple, right? There was that Swindon away.
Yeah.
Again,
That was near the end of the season. We had the watch. That was the first. That was the first watch party that we did.
Jinxed it then.
Well, that's Swindon.
That's on you, John.
8-2 or something like that.
That's on you.
That's on me, isn't it? Okay.
The difficulty of that Swindon away, Milton Keynes away, back to back, and I think they were the exact same scores, right? We lose both them 8-2. Now, without creating excuses, we'd come off a decent run, brought back to earth with a bump, but we lost our ice, we lost our practice ice. We had guys then, through no fault of their own, unable to make the ice that we'd managed to secure in Glasgow. So to go into a team, now once Swindon got in their own rink, they were a different team.
Yeah.
So to go in there, a difficult place with no ice was difficult. Then you go into Milton Keynes, where until Swindon beat them last week as we talk now, then they lost there since September. So it's they were difficult games at that stage. It was a difficult run, being constantly on the road. I mean, and Peaks and Dunny will tell you better than anybody now, is this season for them was constantly on the road because they travelled here to practice, they travelled here to play. If you're on the road,
they told us.
constantly, did they? I never heard that.
I did. He didn't hear us. So.
No, we don't like to moan.
He's like, eh? But yeah, I mean, I think that was difficult, but we found
a way.
a way to. Let's be honest, right? A first-year team, I'm sure somebody online will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had more points than any other first-year team.
We did.
More wins, and then we took it to the penultimate weekend of the season, where everybody else at that stage were well out of playoffs. I think we had some good things, but a lot to still learn.
I think we actually ended up with enough points this season to have made the playoffs. Last season,
Yeah, someone said
two fewer games played in the league, so it just goes to show how tight the league was. There wasn't any other than maybe, say, Bristol down at the bottom who struggled for points. The rest of the teams were all quite tight from that sort of 3rd, 4th place down to 9th, 10th. The points there was only a few points in it, really, 5-6 points tops in it. So you said about Swindon being away from their rink, but one of the good things about that was that we got to go down and play them at the, how do you pronounce it, the Vindico, the Vindico.
Cardiff.
We got to go down and play them in Cardiff.
It's like 8 hours on a bus.
Yeah.
It was.
But come on, talk us through that.
I don't remember what happened
talk
that
us through
night.
that face off.
You
That was
just went,
after
you
we-
just went
Oh,
rogue,
yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah.
We
I
called
went
the
rogue.
time out.
Yeah,
We went,
yeah.
I was
He
like,
told me
Jackie
to do
Boone
something
style.
else,
I
and
was
I
like,
did
just
the
eat
opposite.
it. And he says, no, I'll just push it through, guys.
Yeah, I was
lads."
scorer.
I was like, just do what you want then.
Yeah.
We did have a conversation though on the bench talking about it, didn't we?
Yeah, and to be fair, so we obviously we're behind. We get back to that situation, we score and get ourselves.
Did you not do that? Did you not do that diving?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Was
the
that
first-
not-
yeah,
that's
the-
the same game.
Yeah,
right?
Dunny threw me
Yeah,
some
the first one
nice
was
sauce.
a bit of sauce and across a nice reach, and it gets us to where we need to be. And then we had that. We called the timeout, they called the timeout, and we knew the goalie was gone right for the start. And I was like, should we eat it? Should we just kill the time? And to be fair to Peaks, it was his call. He was like, I think I could, like on the centre, I think I can push this through. I was like,
Yeah, we didn't want to go back an hour end, did
what
we?
you been doing? So he knew how he was matching up against. I think was it
Cowley,
Cowley
yeah.
or was it Aaron?
No, Aaron was on the blue
Aaron
line.
was on. So I was, and we noticed that. So we, he was like, I think I can push through here. So if
Loved
I
it.
trust you here, push through, and we win the
As
game.
a
right?
fan,
Yeah.
Win the
watching
game.
that.
Huge result. And do you know what? What makes it even better? That one is not even just that comeback. It's the fact that we got on the bus, we drove all the way home, and we faced off here the next night, 4:00 against Milton Keynes. At that stage, them and Leeds were really nip and tuck, and we beat them here as well.
Yeah.
On a 4-point weekend,
Yeah.
with one of the most difficult travel weekends.
Yeah.
For sure.
And,
I think that kick started it a little bit. Gave
It
us
was
some
definite belief.
confident and
Definite
confidence
belief.
momentum.
And I think we've probably missed so far. We've missed out the fans because it would have been so difficult for them turning up here every week and we were winning. And I don't know if they knew what to do. Like we
When we were
struggled.
losing.
Well,
Yeah.
like I struggled a wee bit to start. You're going like we're losing here. Like we need to
Well,
change
they were
things.
quite vocal up towards
Aye,
us,
like-
believe you me.
I spoke to a few upstairs after games. A lot of them were real positive too, and they were just happy to be seeing competitive
Yeah.
hockey and that level of hockey too.
We get told to spend
entertaining.
more money. As you do.
yeah.
But I mean, and I think that weekend in particular, just that kind of
Showed that we could
togetherness.
belong, yeah.
Yeah.
And that
for sure.
sets up, didn't it?
We genuinely arrived, I think.
Yeah.
That
100%.
sets up for the Christmas
Yeah.
the Christmas run and the winning from a 6-game losing streak to what was it, a 7? 6, 7?
We were like 9
I
and
think we
11.
went 6 and it was
Yeah.
like 7 and 9 or something like that. Yeah.
We had 6 in a row, but yeah,
Yeah.
it might have been like 9 out of 11.
But I think it
in
also
total.
it set us up like you say, that game against Swindon. It was we were kind of out of it and we had a big comeback. Secure the win was amazing in regulation, and I think it kind of set the precedent for we had more games like that throughout that Christmas period. We had some huge
One against-
overtime wins. We had
the
a
one
penalty.
against Hull.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah,
spirit.
yeah,
wasn't
where
it?
Olivier scored late to
Yeah.
send it to overtime.
Yeah, but we were 2 down.
2
Yeah,
down
yeah.
with 2 minutes.
Two
and
down,
the goalie
2 minutes
twice.
and 9
9
seconds to
seconds
go.
to go.
Pulled the goalie, scored.
Twice.
Pulled the goalie again, scored.
Then
Overtime.
give it to
We
Dunny
really-
and OT.
Then I remember it clearly
The
because
Dunny dance.
Kieran Hare was injured, and he was standing beside Jamie, and Jamie looked and went, "What do you think will happen here?" And Kieran just said, "We'll just get to Dunny and we'll score." And that's exactly what he said. And the next thing ended up in the net, and the place erupted.
Oh,
Erupted.
that was good.
I
Oh,
remember.
yeah.
Like, and the players obviously it meant so much to them, and I think we created a little rivalry with Hull over the course of the season. We played them so many times, and we'd pulled, and I guess early, we'd said that with the 1-goal games, we pulled the goalie so many times early and got bitten, but to pull it not just once but twice with so little time to go, it's satisfying, and it's
For
probably
sure.
memorable for the fans as well as the players.
We got something up our sleeve for next year. We're pulling the goalie, but we won't give that
yeah,
away.
We've got,
Oh, yeah.
we've practiced that at the end of the season.
Stuff
but
in the works here.
Okay.
We'll tell you off camera. We can't
Okay.
tell you on
Yeah.
camera for that.
I probably
That's
won't
the-
understand it anyway.
that would be secrets. But and I think we did. We went, we beat Hull. Then we beat the Raiders in the it was
No, it was the
23rd
23rd
first, right?
before, yeah.
Started on. Well, actually started that kind of run. I guess started crazily with a loss here. That overtime 8-7 with
Oh, yeah.
Swindon.
Right,
So
yeah,
was what was 6-2 down going
Yeah,
into the last
another
two.
Yeah.
another
Yeah,
man.
we
Man, we
scored
had
6
so
goals,
many
yeah.
of those. It's crazy to think. I think it does. Like it gives your group so much confidence when you start seeing that you can come back. Like because there's nothing worse. You go into a third period and you're down by a substantial amount of goals, and it's so easily can get out of reach. But I think I was quite proud of our group that we we found ways to just claw back into games. And I mean, it must have been, we didn't do it on purpose, but it must have been very entertaining for our fans to see how
that's one word I would use.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good for the hairline or the nerves, but no, it was, you know, it's a tribute to the character that we had in our locker room, and, you know, just to find ways to just continue to crawl back into games.
I suppose it makes it that you talk about last season and the season before winning 11-1 in the playoff semi-final weekend and whatnot. I don't care who you are as a sports fan. Yes, you want to see your team win 8-0, but it's so much more fun to win 8-7. You know, or 8-6 maybe.
Yeah. Depends who you are.
Yeah,
You know,
they ain't nothing to draw, right?
They're okay, yeah, but it is the up and down nature of a game is what gets the
for
fans
sure.
going. You know,
No, and I think when, you know, over the year of speaking to some of our oldest fans, like as in the length of time they've been following the team, a lot of them used the same word, and a lot of them were bored. Like they would started to pick and choose what games they came to. And I guess for business, we had to get over that obstacle early doors because they never knew what they were coming to hear. So it was trying to justify that every night was a night of kind of real hockey. And yeah, we were in 1-goal and 2-goal games and competing even early when we did go in that little slump. But you're right, I think that, let's be honest, right? If you could win 8-0, you would take it, but being in proper, whether it be 1-0, 3-2, 8-7, the 1-goal games and the bit of excitement and the entertainment side of it is what puts bums on seats.
Of course. That's why you're a sports fan, isn't
And
it?
it's,
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
and it's
That's
the
what I was
fine
kinda getting at.
margins that players, you know, and our players started to prove that they could handle and they enjoyed being in. From that, you know, that 8-7 was 6-2 down, 7-6 down, score late. I actually think we might have pulled the goalie that night as well.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
Go overtime. Rennie Marr made an unbelievable save on Dunny right in the first shift of overtime, and it was done. And then they hem us in for play about 2 minutes, and they get 3 or 4 whacks at it. They score, but one of the losses that you felt it hurt, but it kick-started us a wee bit again. Because like Dunny said, we kind of felt that we're right there.
Yeah.
You know, we can come back in that one. Then the World Championships happens. We come back and it was Raiders 23rd.
Yeah, just
Find a way to win in overtime. We came back in that one as well.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was overtime, yeah.
Raiders, Hull played really well in a defeat to Leeds on Boxing Day.
Yeah. That might have been, I think we pulled the goalie that night at 2-1 maybe, and then they might have
Yeah, I
scored an
think
empty
you might
net
be
to go
right.
3.
And then another loss, and then that's when I think we went, after we come back for New Year, we'd won in Hull on Hogmanay,
That's right,
which was
yeah.
big for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we knew we started back with Bristol. Anyway, to their credit, they beat us on home ice earlier in the season, so we knew we had to win that, and we went on that 6.
Yeah.
It was 6 for there.
Yeah, it was.
We made hard work of those
So-
games, though. I thought.
Yeah, like I think that if you look at our results, I mean, the boys will tell you because they've got to go and play in them, but Leeds, Milton Keynes, Swindon, Hull, Peterborough, like again, without disrespecting any of the teams, because we felt everybody else, probably Hull were in that mix of being around us. We had Hull in our sights at one point, and to be fair to them, they pulled away, but Telford were in our sights, the Raiders, the Bees, even the Steel Dogs, Bristol, they were almost dogfights. Whereas the real structured games where we were the underdog and we knew we had to execute almost perfectly, I think we played better in them. And I don't know whether it was because there was less pressure on us or whether we enjoyed the actual almost chess game, cat
I suppose
and mouse.
everything was new as well.
And it was
wasn't
new.
it?
It was
I mean,
new.
you're
and-
playing the same team 3 or 4 times, but it's the first time you've played them 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So everything's new, you know.
And it still goes back to what Craig said, right? I still don't think any of these teams, no matter when, even when they knew we were serious, still didn't want to lose to us.
No one
Or
knows
did one of the coaches who will remain nameless not say we shouldn't be losing to Solway? We shouldn't be losing.
I think a lot of teams had that mindset.
That got right on my.
But why?
Why?
No, but that's what I mean. Why shouldn't you lose?
Yeah.
to a good
Exactly.
team?
Yeah.
They're a good
Teams,
team.
right? It's
They're a great team.
one thing, like some coaches eventually did, or some clubs, but I don't think we got the respect we deserved at times. Like,
Oh, it'd be the interviews after games
like,
rather
I
than
think
they played well. It's we had
We
an
played
off night.
bad,
Yeah.
No, we
like,
played
and that
well.
always happens. But you know,
Yeah.
if team wins on the night, they've obviously done something better than you. So you kind of
Tip your
sometimes
cap.
just got to tip your hat and take your medicine and move on. And then that maybe, I don't think it'll really hurt us, but it annoyed some people at some points. You know, we're looking at, we're trying to drive the standards of the league up. We're trying to compete. As a first-year team, we're not giving anybody any easy points. Like the one thing, and we said it down the stretch into that playoff push, nobody came here short-benched. Nobody took a night off here. I watched, I mean, as we probably all did, and we discussed it enough on the front of the bus, but when you watch the results coming in every week, there was some weeks you go, like, why is he not playing? Why is that guy? Why are that team going there with 14 guys? Like, we travelled everywhere as close to full strength as we could, and everybody played us as close to full strength as they could. But I actually see that as a sign of respect for us and our team and our club. So, like, you can't complain about it because that's the game. But,
Exactly.
It showed that we done a lot of good things.
Yeah. And we did a lot of favours for everyone else when you look at the terms of the schedule and things like that. We do. I mean, we knew what we were getting into in terms of travel, and everyone was prepared for it. Nobody moaned about it. But in terms of, like, we'll give teams an earlier face-off time here, even though, like, well, Cardiff, we're in Cardiff, and we get home at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and you're playing here at 4 o'clock to accommodate another team. But
People don't understand that all of us, but you guys as players, then you're here at least 2 hours before as well.
Yeah.
So it's all right saying that's 4 o'clock, but you're here somewhere maybe 1:30 to 2 o'clock. You know, and for me, I guess I'm looking, doing video and ready for pre-scout, so it's not 4 o'clock.
No.
yeah.
To the fan it is, to the players, it's even less.
But we were the year one team.
New
We
kids
had
on the
to-
block.
New kids on the block.
Yeah, I got to pay your dues.
Aye.
And it was late, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
we documented that in the beginning. We were late into the party, if you like, so we knew. And we did say, we
We would
you and I
accommodate.
and with Katie and the rinks back in that we would accommodate teams. But it does sometimes annoy you when you go to some of the places and you go, do you know what? Like, we're bending over backwards to accommodate teams. And not everybody does it.
No.
And reciprocates that favour. But it can become a wee bit a bugbear, but aye, that's
the
nature of the beast.
That's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the beast. So that takes us to going on a slump again after Christmas, after going down and then up, and then we lost the ice to the other events in here. Fair enough, but then all of a sudden we went on a slump again. And we started looking upwards towards the playoffs again rather than down. So how did that? I know how that felt as an owner, getting frustrated and watching those close games again and racking up the L's again. But it must have been tough for you guys because we were still really, really close on every single game.
I don't think we went in. We didn't have as bad as it was at the start of the year. We maybe went sort of four games without
it wasn't
picking
a
up win,
massive
a couple
skid.
of weekends or something. But yeah, it's just, you know, when you get into that point of the season, everyone's kind of tired after Christmas as well. And that's the other thing you got to remember. A lot of these guys hadn't dealt with a schedule as busy as we had over the Christmas, New Year period. So it's probably a bit of fatigue. We lose the ice here. Our practice schedule is a bit messed up. Some guys obviously can't even make it from work. You're only getting an hour and a half a week or whatever it is. And it was bad timing for our group. And it wasn't through. Everyone wanted to win. Of course we wanted to win, and we didn't enjoy losing. But sometimes you try. We'd talk about it all the time. Like, you can try too hard, and it's like you're in quicksand, and you're not really getting anywhere the harder you work. And
No, especially that time of the season too, where points are so valuable. Sometimes you're looking at the standings and where are we going to end up here? And I don't know if it's like a pressure thing or if it's, you know, being a first-year team or whatever it might be. But yeah, like you say, it's a little bit of quicksand. You're like, oh, we really, really need to, and you're almost like building it up. And you know, there's no. It's not for a lack of effort. That's never was an issue. I don't think with our group. But no, it never was. But sometimes it just seems like you're almost your own worst enemy. And there probably was a portion of that, you know, second half stretch where it just seems like nothing's going your way, and it's just like, what do you got to do to get a result here?
Right, yeah, and you're up against teams in the same position as you.
Yeah,
They're all fighting
nobody's
for
going to
stuff.
give you a night off.
Everybody was fighting for something at that point.
Yeah,
Whether
exactly.
it's them at the top of the league, whether it's guy trying to make playoffs, whether it's just trying to get as high as you can in the standings for a playoff group. Like you say, we would sit at the front of the bus and talk about things and try and figure out how do we turn it around and look back and, you know, what went wrong, what went right, and But it's the roller coaster of a season, I guess, isn't it? Like,
I mean, we nearly made the playoffs.
4
Yeah.
points.
So, I mean,
Yeah, you know what? I think that, of course, like we said it right. This place, I guess, we're a victim of our own success as a facility that we can bring these world and European level events to the building, and it's kudos to the building and the management and the staff.
who are all brilliant, I have to say. And
Yeah,
if you think
100%.
about
Oh,
it,
yeah.
as an ownership group, you know, you guys are zoned in on the game. So pre-game, during the game, post-game, whereas we're actively in amongst the fans and the away fans and stuff like that as well, and obviously the away team. Everybody loves this place. Every single set of away fans that came here loved it, and that's really nothing to do with us as owners or you as players or a coach. That's the facility and the staff and the volunteers that work in here. Obviously, we put on a good game and a good match night experience and whatnot, but like you say, the facility itself, that's why it attracts. That's why this place attracts international events, because it's just run so well and the people are brilliant.
100%, 100%. But then you put the purely selfish hat on, and you say, "We've lost our ice."
Yeah.
I was trying to move on for that.
And it's not our ice. But I think that was just that. When
It's
you
a
say we
factor.
were so close to the playoffs, like that little bit never helped us, right? But then I think we faced a slightly different pressure that we'd never had that year of when we were looking down on teams trying to catch us. That's a totally different pressure again, because then all of a sudden we were expected to win some games, and they're like, "Oh, like Sharks are favourites tonight." And mentally, again, not everybody, but some people, that was a completely different mindset again for them.
What about you? I know this isn't a question and answer session, but a lot of people did say to me during the season, how do you think Martin will adapt to getting beat? Because he's no used to getting beat. And I don't think I've ever actually asked you this.
I never lost a game all year. It was win or learn was the motto.
I love it. You win or you
Listen,
learn.
my dad's
Smart.
to blame for this, right? My dad has brought my
Lovely
brother
man,
and
by
I
the
up
way.
as a fierce competitor, right? He played football, was his sport. He got us into hockey at a young age, but he was still playing five-a-side with his mates at, I think he was still 50 and he was playing. And I remember playing against him when I would go home in summer, and like he would elbow you in the face, me as his son, just to beat you. That was him. And my brother and I have got that mentality, but through the years I've learned that kind of win or learn of, yes, it's difficult, right? There was times, you go home and you take it, you try not to, but you take it with you for a wee while, and you go in a huff, and some nights you get the video straight out, and then you realise some nights you better not even open your computer because it'll make you worse. But it was just about finding a way, right? Because we knew we had a good group, we knew we had the right people. Like again, we spoke at the front of the bus every trip on the good and the bad. How can we help the players? How can we help ourselves and each other? But for me, it was the only disappointing thing is that we came in making such a big noise that I'd like to have at least been able to see that through into a playoff. Because I genuinely believe that if we had managed to squeak in there, we were dangerous. We were dangerous.
Yeah.
Look at our record here against the teams that are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to come here. And maybe that had a say in how the playoffs ended. But
we don't look back. Like you say, you don't look backwards. You look
all you
forward.
do
No,
now
I
is you look and you say, right, what on some of these hot runs, what made us good? So we can continue to do that. On some of the slumps, why? What happened?
Yeah.
And we've always said, and I still think we did, regardless of missing it in the playoffs. We've always said, for the beginning of me being here, you build a team of people that the fans can be proud of. And I think that, it's super disappointing we missed out, but I think everybody could see that we gave it everything we had. Even down to pulling goalies here where we maybe shouldn't have. Even that Bees game. 2 and a bit minutes to go, we get the goalie off. Like, they never got out of their zone, apart from Iceland's. But we just couldn't get that little bit of puck luck. And I guess you look at a team like the Bees, it's taken them a long time to make the playoffs like that.
And I'm
We were a
glad
first-year
I'm
team.
glad they did.
Yeah, and fair play to anybody,
To an
any of the
extent.
teams. You know, the Raiders were right in that mix. They were playoff finalists last year,
True.
and we
Yeah.
and they've had, as we speak here, they're right in the mix again to make that final four. But so we've pushed some really good teams, and for me, it's now about how do we move forward.
Aye.
Like I think
No, we've
we
learned a lot.
joked about sharks can't swim backwards.
No,
right?
they can't stand backwards. No, they can only go
Fact.
So
forward.
we need to keep going forward, and we need to keep looking at. And the harsh reality is now we look with an off season, with
A full
we're now-
off
we're now
season.
a full time
Yeah.
non-playing GM.
Time to set up
No
stuff
pressure,
like this in the
but-
middle of the ice.
But for all of us, right, for the four of us sitting around this table now, we have that precious commodity that is time.
Time.
Yeah.
We never had it last year. We never had John on board in his role until literally just before the
Yeah.
season, right? Well, obviously, we all had stuff going on and we had short space. So now we have to manage our time and get things right. And the harsh reality is there'll be some movement. Obviously, with Ross and Struan already.
We're going to have to come up with some
So
pretty funky signing video ideas, aren't we? Considering.
If only we knew somebody that could put those together.
I don't know. I wonder.
Like I thought that we.
How do you top a boat in the middle of the ice?
I thought you were playing last year. I meant a video. So maybe
It's not
that's
too
what we'll
late,
have to do.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can use the time we've got to teach you.
I
Yeah.
can exclusively reveal there is no chance I'll be
Right.
playing.
I thought at least we've got an exclusive one. Yeah, you're right. We came in and we made some noise, and it was the right thing to do. And we'll continue to make that noise.
aye.
We'll continue to drive forward, and we'll continue to sift through some of the wreckage that we left behind us, and we'll make it better.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
Definitely.
that's
It's the only way to do it. That's
Yeah.
what I expect as an owner from the coaching staff and the ops staff, the GM, the players. You know, we set the bar. We jumped into this league, and I was always very conscious of not saying on the 4 million podcasts that I did.
I never seen
Is
you.
that
The 4,000 and counting. Aye. That to make the playoffs was the ambition, but everybody knew the ambition was to actually go and dominate and do something.
Yeah.
We didn't quite do that, but by goodness did we learn. As an ownership group, we have learned so much in the last year, and you've learned as a coach. You guys have learned as well. So, as much as I don't want to say it, if we thought we were under a bit of pressure to deliver last season, we're under a huge amount of pressure to deliver this season, because this is year 2 where we need to back up what we said we would do in year 1 and exceed that. And that's the only way. That's the only way I work anyway. And
We know.
yeah.
Well
And that's
aware.
what I expect from every single player that joins this team. Is, we're not in it to take part. We're not.
It's I guess it's like we said it about the one goal games. It's why we play. I'm a great believer that it can be the NHL, it can be the NIHL. If you don't stand up in front of your team and tell them that our plan is to win every single hockey game and every title that we're playing for at the beginning of the season, what's the point? It's a sport.
Yeah.
And you've got the same puncher's chance as the next team. And obviously then, as the season progresses, things start there's movers and shakers everywhere, but you have to go into it believing and planning to win. And, like you say, of course we would have took the playoffs as a first-year team. But if we think back to the induction meal that we had with the families and the players and staff's support network.
What do you mean that night where Phil and David and I made some stupid promise to the team? That
But I think throughout the year when times got tough, you can still ask for more for people, because it was a coming together. Everybody knew that, whether it be a first year player here, a brand new player, and their families, whether it be wives, kids, whatever, everybody bought in. And it will continue. I think we all know it's why we're sitting around this table. It will continue to be like that.
it's getting cold though.
But the pressure,
My feet are
Is
cold.
it?
I don't feel it.
I'm from Canada, so
The
Yeah, you
pressure
look
is
fine.
the pressure does ramp up. The pressure ramps up
yeah.
to win. But if you don't want pressure, don't come play for Solway Sharks.
No.
100%.
Because we want to win, and we want you to be able to play under pressure. And we want to be sitting here next year with maybe at least one, but 2 or 3 guests with us that have blue ribbons on them because
100%, yeah.
that's
That's
how
why
we're
I left the
we're
front of the table blank. Is
Perfect.
there space for stuff there next year?
That's how
give
we're-
me your highlights then. I know we're probably running out a wee bit of time here now as hypothermia kicks in. But give me
another crazy
give me
idea.
a quick highlight from each of you for me and for the fans.
I don't know. I guess just for me, I mean, the fact that where we were probably a little less than 12 months ago, we're sitting there and it was just a vision, and sitting down. And I've retired from hockey, and
Sorry about that.
yeah, and then a month later, I'm playing hockey again. But that was a secret for a while.
Did you
But
enjoy it though?
I did. I loved
Good.
it. I loved every second. It was great getting to welcome Martin and kind of seeing the game from a different, sitting at the front of the bus as opposed to the back of the bus, which was a new one for me. But it was great because me and Martin got to sit there and talk about, and I would talk to him as a GM at that point, and we'd talk about the team and what we can do. But, I'm just proud of what we did this year and what we achieved. And obviously it sucks that we didn't make the playoffs. We all wanted to be there. But, I think that's given us that hunger that, okay, well, we've seen it now. We know what we need to do next year. We've been talking about next year since Christmas, probably.
Yeah.
Like, it's already in the plans. It's already working. We've got that time to build it now. So, yeah, I mean, I can't pick out any particular, the comeback wins and things like that, like 2 goals down here and coming back winning in overtime is great. But the overall, what we've done and the direction we're going, like I say, we've seen it now, we know. So I'm excited to see what we do over the next few months and get ready for the first puck drop next year. And I
Can't
can
come quick
enjoy
enough.
it from up there somewhere where you normally sit instead of that place over there.
What do you mean? I'm normally running about doing things. Danny, what about you?
No, I think what Peak said is very true. Considering we didn't make playoffs, there was so many highlights you could really pick through. But the one that stands out for me, just like a one game, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but Leeds in a shootout.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that when
Yeah.
Big Mace,
Big Mace.
ice in his veins, came down, had that brilliant move. That was really cool. That's just one of those wins that you see the crowd, how invested they are, how excited. And just a guy like Mace too. He's such a big personality. For him to play the hero in a game like that was a really cool moment. That probably sticks out in my mind. Anyways, that was.
That was the only home game I personally missed all season.
Well, you're bad next
Sorry.
year then.
I know.
Tells you something.
I was watching it
No.
in Germany, to be fair.
The GM
Some
needs to have
move,
a word
though.
away. I think you'll be watching
Yeah,
from
yeah.
elsewhere next
I'll
year.
promise I'll be at every single home game next year.
No, but that one was pretty cool.
Yeah,
That was a brilliant game.
Martin, clearly your highlight was having these two play for you.
Yeah.
This is one of them, yeah, for sure. No, I agree with everything there, like the whole where we came from in terms of putting this together, to sitting around this table, to be able to put this level of hockey on back in this town for our fans, growing the numbers, like that last game, the last couple of games, numbers was phenomenal. The moment that we fought and went online and they eventually send us that email to say you're in was something that I'd kind of worked towards, and then we, obviously with you guys help, but it becomes a reality. That's it's a big moment, I think, for this town, for hockey in this town, for the 5-year-old that's just starting. It now gives them an aspiration to play in a National League team. And obviously we've got some partnerships with other teams that there's a pathway. There's a pathway. Obviously, I've got international events each year, and they're always cool. But as a personal moment, as a coach, I think that whole game, 2 minutes 9 seconds to go, you pull your goalie. Now I'll tell you, let's be honest, the whole building's going, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Pulling his goalie, they're going to score. Right,
So-
we score. Then I pull him again,
I know.
and the whole building goes, oh, here we go again.
I hadn't experienced that though. I'm standing up in standee with Big Dave Hill, photographer. Everyone knows Dave's like 9'4" and I'm 4'4". So I'm kind of like, I was on my own that night. Dave and Phil were elsewhere. So and I was in a real. I take the defeats just as bad as you guys do. I mean, I live and breathe
Maybe
this
worse.
place. Probably worse, yeah. And I'm standing there and I'm like, and I was like, hey Dave, it's 2 minutes to go. It's not going to happen. And he went, this is Sharks, John. Don't you worry. I was like, all right, okay. And then boom, boom, those two quick pull the goalie goals.
Because it was, what was it, time out, wasn't it?
Time out.
Yeah,
Face off.
that actually was
Win
so
the draw,
good.
get them straight off. Win the draw, get them straight off again.
Aye.
And then obviously, it probably would have been good to get that point either way, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near close if we then don't go in to win it in overtime. And the fact that it was won in overtime, and I think it was the first shift.
Yeah.
It would have been,
You know, they came hard at us on the forecheck. They made a change. Olivier Peaks to Dunny just right pretty much is where I'm looking my eye right now, and the next thing he undressed the
That's right,
defenseman,
danced around them.
including the goalie, and
That was the
like
plan.
again, much like that Leeds night, the bench emptied as if we'd won the Stanley Cup, and yes, it was 2 points, and you know other teams will look and go, it was only 2 points, but for a first year team, that Leeds night when you talk about the shootout, it makes you smile. Like Mace watched and he looked, and obviously I put him with the national team, and he gave me the eye and he said, "I'm ready, Gaffer. Never any doubt, go." And it makes the players smile, which makes me smile. It doesn't happen a lot. But that whole night, probably on a personal level, you know, when for as we'd well documented for years, I felt that I was with the fans. It was a little bit boring. And as a coach, I was
There
like,
was nothing boring about that.
I can only make so much of an impact as a coach. I don't come on this ice and cross that white line, if you like, to play. You trust your players, and these little moments that you know you've done the little bit that you can do to help them, they're satisfying. But you know, I think it sounds really cheesy, but I think one of the reasons we work so well here is, and Pete's kind of alluded to it, the best still to come, right?
Oh, aye.
We're still far from where we want to be,
Yeah.
and I'm also just excited of what the summer brings, what the sooner the season comes about.
Definitely. I mean,
Absolutely.
a lot of the fans watching this they're already. I mean, we put this version of the charts together in the middle of June last year.
Yep.
As this is recording, we're still in April. And they're already wanting to know when the next signing is and when the next signing is and whatnot. Now, obviously, there are players that are unavailable at the moment, and there are players that have left and whatnot. But you know, we've announced a couple of signings already. I'm happy to say there are another few signings that have put pen to paper already, but we just haven't announced them yet, so that can calm the fans down, a wee bit. And then over the coming weeks and months, the rest of the roster will get announced. I know you guys collectively are working really hard on that just now, with our support, which is really good. And so the plans for next year, I think, are just from an ownership perspective. Obviously, when this goes out, the public and everyone will be aware that David and Phil have stepped aside, and I've taken on sole ownership of the club. So you're kind of looking at the full management structure now. It's the four of us basically to put the team together and to bring success next year. And you know, we will make it happen. And from my perspective, we will make it happen. I'll give you guys everything you need to make it happen. Build on the amazing things that everyone did last year. The three of you, myself, Phil and David, the hours, the blood, sweat and tears that the three of us put in to get us to where we were. We're just going to continue that and build on it and learn from it. So
Yeah, I think that's, like you say, we've got to thank David and Phil and their families. Once a Shark, always a Shark. I always say it.
100%.
Excited to the future now, but you still never answered the question. What was your favourite moment?
Hull all day long, because I missed Leeds because I wasn't here.
Fair
That
enough.
turning into Big Dave Veal and being withdrawn and dejected at staring down the barrel of another defeat, and then is it not one of the sponsors? Is it Stuart? Is it Stuart?
33
They've
solutions.
caught me on video jumping up and down like a lunatic,
Oh, yeah, you
and then
did, yeah.
cut it
It's
into a
good
little
video.
gif, and it's not really.
I gotta find that again. Actually, that's good.
Well,
No,
actually,
he's
I
got it
think-
because he posts it every
I
now
know,
and again,
I
and
know.
I guarantee you in the comments when this
Oh,
goes
he'll
out in the
post it for
comments, he's
sure.
going to post that.
Was that
He's
not
gonna
the
go like that.
game? Was that not the coach's corner that James had made that little video, and we we analysed your
Yes, you
performance.
analysed
it.
We
Oh,
analysed your performance. So it's
All I would say
so
is
it's out there.
I had my mic pack on, my radio pack, so I couldn't jump too
Oh,
high.
excuses.
That's why it looked like that. Yeah, okay.
Excuses are for the weak.
That
they
makes
say.
sense. Yeah.
I tell you what then, boys, you guys bring silverware next season. I'll run onto the middle of the ice and jump higher than that. How about that?
That's a great
Done.
idea.
All right.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
expectations for next year then are we all want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like
Improved.
what Spud said there. You know, is 100% accurate. Any sport, any league, it doesn't matter if you're at the beginning of the season not saying, you know, we want to win. We want to win more games than we lose, and we want to see what we can do, and you know, try to win a trophy. That's always going to be the expectations. I think, again, we've harped on it already. Not making playoffs was a disappointment, but I think
Let's
we
end on a positive, John. Come on.
no, but I'm just saying we built a lot of groundwork, a lot of positivity from this season, and I think you just kind of harness
Look at
that.
this place towards the end.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
that last game.
1,120
Yeah, it was
fans
jumping.
for a game that really didn't mean anything.
Realistically.
That shows that the community is behind us, and the amount of people on social media calling for the start of next season to
Yeah.
begin tomorrow is just
But-
fantastic.
And as a player, that helps. So that's our challenge, obviously, off the ice, is to make sure that the first game next year is that number, if not more.
So the air horns are a go then, yeah? Is that what you're saying? Although you had a bit of an issue with the air horns.
I can't get information for the bench to the ice because it's so loud.
It's
Shout louder.
crazy.
So, in one respect, it's a great thing for the players and the atmosphere in the building. But yeah, there's times I really wanted to just be
See,
like,
what you don't know is the players all got together and said to me, we're sick of listening to Mark. Any chance we can get some air horns so we can just pretend we
there's
can't
every
hear them?
chance of that. I think that you're right though. You said about online now. You're looking at our own fans and they're desperate for the season, as we are desperate for the season to start. But we use the same line we used all year. It's trust the process.
Yeah.
Like it's a long summer. I understand people want information. As you say, as we record right now, the Final Four's not happened. Players are still playing. Players need some downtime and to just recharge the batteries and with their friends, families, etc. But like you touched on, John, the plans are well underway, right? So just relax, trust the process. We've got pressure to make bigger and better videos, so maybe we're just working on that rather than anything else. But we will still, I think, as
I've got some ideas.
as this new manager, no doubt, as this kind of new management team, if we're branding it that, like we will continue to put a team that everybody can be proud of, that is competitive every single night, and ultimately, you know, as a general manager, as a coach, as hockey ops, and as owner, like we all have the same vision of this being the best team to play for in the league and being the best team in the league. So if everybody continues to buy into that, all 1,100 that were here have to come back every week, then it'll not take
put
us
a show
long
on
to
for
get
them.
there. Yeah, it'll not take us long. to get
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's probably enough then, boys. Unless any you want to.
there. Our philosophy starts right here, and we're good people.
On that note,
Let's go to Spain because I'm absolutely frozen.
thanks, boys.
Holidays.
Oh.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Showbiz.